Hello, a very good afternoon to you. Welcome to Global Box on Adamimogo FM Nigeria. My name is Dayo Lujobi. The headlines: INEC obeys court ruling, restores the David Mark-led ADC leadership. South African police to begin search for suspects involved in shooting of 2 officers. US-Iran prepare for resumption of hostilities as peace talk remains unfruitful. Many thanks for joining us on Global Box. Now the news in detail. We start from Nigeria, where the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has restored Senator David Mark as the chairman of the African Democratic Congress (ADC) following yesterday's court ruling. The Supreme Court on Thursday nullified the earlier ruling of the appeal court that ordered a return to status. In its ruling, the Apex Court upheld the ruling brought by the David Mark-led faction and directed that the substantive case filed by aggrieved party member Nafiu Balogun at the Federal High Court be heard promptly and decided on its merits.
In other words, the Supreme Court allowed the appeal. The objection to the competence of the appeal was dismissed. The appeal was valid, but they agreed that we ought not to have come to the Court of Appeal for the question to come and show cause. And so in my view, that's it. The Supreme Court is a court of policy. Like you hear the lordship say, they are all Nigerians. Yes. They are aware of what is going on. Democracy must flourish.
Although this ruling, the Supreme Court has removed the immediate legal order that led to INEC's earlier action. The core lawsuit challenging the legitimacy of the party's leadership is still pending before the Federal High Court. And in South Africa, KwaZulu-Natal police are searching for suspects linked to the murder of a crime intelligence officer in north of Durban. On Thursday, 2 officers were shot by unknown gunmen while on duty in the area. One died on the scene while the other was rushed to the hospital with several injuries. Police spokesperson Atlanta Matthew says a team of seasoned detectives are already working around the clock to track down and apprehend those involved. And in Kenya, a member of parliament for the Kwale constituency, Dr. Senator Ayang Rawlings, has accomplished a historical feat with election as the second vice president of the Pan-African Parliament. The renowned politician and daughter of the late former president J.J. Rawlings has secured the big position in the Pan-African Parliament following a major victory in an election in Johannesburg, South Africa. Rawlings could serve the West African caucus as its first female representative in a new role in the history of Pan-African parliamentary politics. The Pan-African Parliament, an organ of the African Union, plays a significant role in promoting integration, cooperation, as well as democratic governance among its state members. And elsewhere, the United Nations Security Council has approved a resolution to extend the mandate of its peacekeeping mission in South Sudan for an additional year. According to reports, the resolution passed with 13 votes in favor, while Russia and China abstained. Several parties, however, voiced their displeasure with the move to reduce troops, warning that downsizing the force could undermine the mission's operational effectiveness. Under the new mandate, the ceiling for peacekeeping troops would be reduced to 12,500 personnel, down from 17,000, alongside approximately 2,100 police officers. However, this adjustment is not expected to significantly alter the current deployment, which has already been scaled back due to previous budget cuts. Global Box is reaching you live from Adamimogo FM. Still to come, US-Iran prepare for resumption of hostilities as peace talk remains unfruitful. Stay with us.
You are listening to Global Box on Adamimogo.
You're welcome back. For inquiries, breaking news and more, please call or text our news desk on 070-3496-1615. You can follow us on all social media platforms at Adamimogo105.1 FM or Adamimogo 93.1 FM, or visit our website at www.adamimogofmnigeria.com. Thanks for joining us. Now to the rest of the news. Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian has said that the U.S. naval siege of Iranian post amounts to an extension of military operations by Washington and is intolerable. The statement follows earlier report of air defenses aired in Tehran on Thursday night after being activated to counter small aircraft and drones in preparation for possible United States strikes. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump said he has not ruled out restarting the war, claiming Iranians' leader want to make a deal badly. While taunting damage to Iran's drone and missile capabilities, Trump also predicted a fall in petrol prices once the conflict ends. Similarly, the Trump administration says a ceasefire is in place since early April, means the war with Iran has already ended for the purposes of an approaching congressional approval deadline. A senior administration official said that there had been no exchange of fire between U.S. and Iranian forces, which means that Trump would not have to seek congressional approval. The statement came after United States Secretary of Defense Pete said during a hearing in the Senate that it was the administration understanding that the ceasefire paused the 60-day clock.
Is the president intending to either seek congressional authorization for the war in Iran or send us the legally required certification that he needs an additional 30 days to remove U.S. forces from the war?
On Iran, ultimately, I would defer to the White House and White House counsel on that. However, we are in a ceasefire right now, which our understanding means the 60-day clock pauses or stops in a ceasefire. You're not in.
Yeah.
It's our understanding, just so you know.
Okay, well, I do not believe the statute would support that. I think the 60 days runs maybe tomorrow, and it's going to pose a really important legal question.
Democrats have disputed that interpretation, saying there are no legal grounds for such a pause. In the meantime, United States President Donald Trump has threatened to withdraw American troops from Spain and Italy due to their criticism of the war with Iran. Trump told reporters in his office that Italy has not been of any help and Spain has been horrible, suggesting he could withdraw troops from both nations.
Italy has not been of any help to us, and Spain has been horrible, absolutely horrible. You know, it's NATO. It's not even the fact that they're bad. It's one thing if they said nicely, or if they said, okay, we'll help, but the help's a little slow. But the level, and we helped them with Ukraine. And so if we ever have a big one, because we didn't need any help with Iran. We had Iran right from the first day it was over. And now it's even more so. We're so locked and loaded if we want to do.
The development came a day after he said Washington was studying and reviewing the possible reduction of United States troops in Germany. The U.S. president has lashed out at NATO allies for failing to help with the U.S.-Israeli operation against Iran and for not sending their navies to open the Strait of Hormuz. Last week, a report said the United States was considering suspending Spain from military alliance as part of a range of possible measures to punish allies viewed as uncooperative. And elsewhere, hundreds of protesters clashed with Australian emergency services workers in a remote town following the arrest of a man suspected of murdering a 5-year-old indigenous girl. Australia's authorities appealed for calm after an angry crowd gathered at the hospital where the suspect was taken after being beaten unconscious by some locals.
We certainly understand people's anger and frustration, but we want the community to come together.
Northern Territory Police Commissioner Martin Dole said the man identified as Jefferson Lewis presented himself to one of the town camps in Alice Springs.
We conveyed Mr. Lewis to the Alice Springs Hospital, and shortly after a large crowd gathered and tried to gain access to that hospital and access to Mr. Lewis. Police responded and we called out all the resources we had available to quell that violent disturbance. And just let me say that the behaviour that we saw last night cannot be explained away, excused or accepted. I just call for calm across the community today, and I'd like to think that what we saw last night is an aberration, not a continuation of future behaviours that we're going to see today.
Lewis was identified as a suspect by police earlier in the week, has past convictions for physical assault and was recently released from prison. And now on entertainment, Oscar-winner Pava Talanke has declared his plague missing after airport security refused to let him take it on flight at a New York airport. The Oscar winner said he had the Academy Award in his carry-on bag for a flight to Germany, but airport security stopped him because they said the award could be used as a weapon. According to him, when he landed in Germany, the Oscar was already missing. And finally on sport, Newcastle United head coach Eddie Howe says the desire of the club's owners to get to the top remains unchanged after meeting with them this week. Chairman Yasser Al-Rahman, the governor of Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, and minority owner Jamie Rubin among those who have flown in for a 2-day annual summit. Although the PIF is to withdraw its multi-billion-dollar backing of LiveGov at the end of the season, some figures at Newcastle were informed a couple of weeks ago that the pullout would not affect the club. Newcastle are 14th place in the Premier League table, but Howe stressed the determination to succeed came through from those above him in the meeting he attended on Thursday. And with that, a sport update will bring to an end this afternoon. Global Box on Adami Mugo FM Nigeria. Before we go, here is a recap of the biggest stories. It was in the news that Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has restored Senator David Mark as the national chairman of the African Democratic Congress (ADC) following yesterday's court ruling. It was in the news that KwaZulu-Natal police are searching for suspects linked to the murder of a crime intelligence officer in north of Durban. And finally, we told you that Iran's President Moshood has said the United States naval siege of Iranian ports amounts to an extension of military operations by Washington, and it will not be tolerated. And that's Global Box, as produced by Ayo Adekeye. Join us at 2 for more stories on our Drive Time News. My name is Dayo Lujobi. Very good afternoon to you again.